Hey there guys, I'm William from House by the Video Store. I will be doing a new weekly series where I discuss The Walking Dead, and for each episode I'll provide a recap, discuss anything that's worth noting, and then provide predictions for what might happen in future episodes based on what we've seen so far. I'll be starting with Season 5, Episode 1, No Sanctuary. And just to kind of give you an idea of my knowledge of the series, I've only watched the show, I haven't read the comics, although I have had people spoil some of the aspects from the comics for me, but I will not bring any of that into this discussion. It's only based on the show, and any predictions I have will only be based on the show. And from what I've heard so far, the show and the comic have varied enough that it's not like they have to follow the comic anyway, or that any of that stuff that happened there has to happen in the show. So let's just get started. Last season ended with the entire group minus Tyrese and Carol being at Terminus. And when they got there, they found out that it wasn't a sanctuary, because if it was a super fortified sanctuary where they could live safely till the end of their days, the show kind of ends. So it was a cannibal complex. All the people there were cannibals eating human meat. And they all got put in a shipping container, and that kind of ends the season. Season starts. Shows a little bit of background on the Terminus crew about how they weren't always terrible people, blah blah blah, who cares. But it shows Rick and his crew in the container preparing to battle and to fight their way out. And then you just kind of hear through their conversations, they've all caught up on the current events. They know what happened to Beth, so you don't have to spend the entire season of the characters, catching up on information that each other knows, that you as an audience member already know. So it's nice they got all that out of the way and just let you know, hey, they're all caught up. Then they take, the cannibals take some of Rick's crew and some random people you've never seen before into the slaughter room to prepare them to be eaten. And as you can guess, the people you've never seen before are the ones who get murdered and get killed. They get their heads bashed in, their throats slit. And when Glenn is about to get his head bashed in, they get stopped not once, but twice from actually following through. And then the reason they don't go through with it is Carol and Tyrese, who are still carrying around baby Judith, finds a Terminus guard at a cabin, and Carol decides to go off and stop the Terminus crew because she overhears them talking on the radio about Michonne and Coral. So she goes off to help them, and then Tyrese stays with the Terminus guy, who claims that he's a nice guy, he's a good guy, which is why he's going to die. Spoiler alert, that doesn't happen. So Carol dresses up or she makes herself appear to be a zombie and makes her way to Terminus and stirs some stuff up. She blows up a propane tank, and that allows the crew to escape. And it's good too that in this part of the series that Rick will murder someone and is effective Rick, not the pacifist farmer Rick from last year. So the crew escapes. Carol, she's one of my favorite characters, just because when you watch her over the course of the series, she is one of the characters who is actually developing and has changed dramatically from the beginning of the series, when she was a battered wife who was quiet and who was only worried about her daughter, to now being one of the characters who will do what has to be done and who will go, charge into battle to save everyone. So she's just had a really good character arc, and she's a character that I'm really interested to see where they continue to go with her in the future. So the crew gets out of Terminus. They meet back up with Tyrese. Rick gets to see baby Judith, who he thought was dead. So you have a happy reunion. And the next part of the story is going to be, since they have really nowhere to go now, is to go to DC and try to get Eugene and Abraham and his crew to DC, since Eugene claims to be able to stop the zombie crisis. And based on the discussion they had when they were in the container, when they were still locked up in Terminus, it sounded like there would be some biological agent that would kill the zombies, not necessarily cure people. So it'll be interesting to see if that actually ever comes to fruition, or if he even actually knows what he's talking about. Because so far his character seems to be slightly off, like he has some type of disability. Maybe he has like Asperger's or something. He's very odd character, and he's got a sweet mullet though, so we have to give him that. So the next leg of the adventure is going to be going to DC. And one thing I did notice is that the main leader of Terminus, they didn't show him getting killed on screen. So he could still be alive out there lurking like a governor type character that could come after the group again. He's not doesn't seem to be nearly as crafty as the governor or as good at fighting, so I don't think he'll be that successful if that's something that's going to happen. But the crew is going to embark towards DC, and just based on what we've seen so far, there's no way it's going to go smoothly. There's really no indications as to what will happen next, so it's kind of all up in the air. But this season premiere left me really excited for the future of this season. It seems like they've kicked things into high gear and went super intense from the beginning. So I'll be definitely interested to see what happens in the next few episodes. So, what do you think? If you have thoughts on what might happen, or you have feedback on this episode, just leave a comment, or you can follow us on housebythevideostore.com or our Facebook or Twitter and let us know what you think. Like I said, I'll be providing weekly reviews going forward, so you can look for those every week on House by the Video Store.